Hi friends, it's Mrs. Dost. I miss you guys so much, and I'm home with my family just like you guys are. And I've been thinking about the days when I went on vacation with my family and we were all together and we had so much fun. So I came out here and pretended with a tent and a sleeping bag, and maybe you guys can go get your sleeping bag and pretend that you're in a tent and pretend you're with your family on vacation somewhere special, okay? And I want to read a book to you. It's called When the Relatives Came. Okay, you have to put in your listening ears because the pictures are very small. I'm going to try to show them to you, okay? But you have to listen carefully. All right, here we go. It was in the summer of the year when the relatives came. They came up from Virginia. They left when their grapes were nearly purple enough to pick, but not quite. They had an old station wagon that smelled like a real car, and in it they put an ice chest full of soda pop and some boxes of crackers and some bologna sandwiches. And up they came from Virginia. They left at 4 in the morning when it was still dark outside, even before the birds were awake. And here they come. See if you can see their car bumping up over the mountains. They drove all day long and into the night. And while they traveled along, they looked at the strange houses and different mountains, and they thought about their almost purple grapes back home. They thought about Virginia, but they also thought about all of us waiting for them. So they drank up all their pop and they ate up all their crackers and traveled up all those miles until finally they pulled into our yard. And here they come. And we were so excited to see them. Oops. Sorry, guys. Okay. Then it was hugging time. Talk about hugging. Those relatives just passed us all around their car, pulling us against their wrinkled Virginia clothes, crying sometimes, and they just hugged us for hours and hours. Then it was into the house. And so much laughing and shining faces and hugging in doorways. You'd have to go through at least 4 different hugs to get to the kitchen to the front room. Those relatives. And finally, after a big supper 2 or 3 times around until we all got a turn at the table, there was quiet talk, and we were in 2s and 3s all through the house. Look at all that family. Do you guys have a big family? Do you have lots of cousins? The relatives weren't particular about beds, which was good since they weren't any extra. So a few of us squeezed in and all slept the rest of us on the floor, some with their arms thrown over the closest person, or some with an arm across one person and a leg across the other. It was different going to sleep with all that different new breathing in the house. I bet there was some snoring going on too. The relatives stayed for weeks and weeks. They helped us tend the garden and they fixed any broken things that they could find. They ate up all our strawberries and our melons and then promised we could eat up all their grapes and peaches when we came to Virginia to visit them. And look, they were playing music. Do you guys play music when you get together with your cousins? I do. We have lots of music all the time. But none of us thought about Virginia very much. We were so busy hugging and eating and breathing together. Look at this big group. Finally, after a long time, the relatives loaded up their ice chest and headed back to Virginia at 4 in the morning. We stood there in our pajamas and waved them off in the dark. We watched the relatives disappear down the road, and then we crawled back into our beds and felt too big and too quiet. And then, eventually, we fell asleep. And the relatives drove on all day long and into the night. And while they traveled along, they looked at the strange houses and the different mountains, and they thought about their dark purple grapes waiting at home for them in Virginia. But they thought about us too, missing them, and they missed us. And when they were finally home in Virginia, they crawled into their silent, soft beds and dreamed about next summer. The end. So I hope you guys liked when the relatives came. Just like missing all those relatives, I'm missing all of you so much, and I can't wait to see you soon. Bye. Have a good night.